Public projects, public engagement is a big part of the work that we do, and so opportunities to really understand a place before you start to suggest change is a big part of the design process that we undertake. DTAH was engaged by Botanicus Art Ensemble to investigate the future potential of the Fieldhouse at MacGregor Playground. The Fieldhouse is being used currently by the Botanicus Art Ensemble in concert with the City of Toronto to run both food and arts programming for the surrounding community. And so we were approached by Botanicus with the question of, what if one could do more on site? How would the building need to change and evolve to suit more intense programming, all year round programming, and improvements to allow for the building to be heated and to be run in such a way as to be environmentally sustainable. The MacGregor Playground, based on our historical research, was always an open space within the centre of this neighbourhood in Toronto. The park as it exists now is kind of a two-sided park. So to the east facing onto Lansdowne Avenue, there are a lot of uses that are directly relating to children. So there's a playground, there's a splash pad, and there's a large area of grass under some beautiful trees that are used by families and young people within the community. The southern edge of the park is actually increasingly occupied by youth, sort of teenaged youth, some of them coming from the school to the south and engaging in urban agriculture that has been put there. And the western edge of the park at the moment is a fenced-off softball field, a really beautiful field with grass and a clay pitch. The Fieldhouse was designed and constructed in the early 1930s essentially as a washroom and change room facility for the sporting teams that were using the playground as sporting fields. The architect of this building was actually the City of Toronto's public buildings architect at the time, and he designed a number of field houses similar to the MacGregor Fieldhouse across the city. It is a very symmetrical building, which at the time was seen as a desirable aspect of its architecture, symmetrical and as well very much purpose-built for its original use. But it's a noble structure, and I think that the nobility of it influenced very much the form and the shape of the addition that we had proposed, which takes the same roof line and the same materiality, but it expands the window openings so that it becomes a little bit more transparent to the outdoors. Well, fundamental to the idea was to allow for the City of Toronto and Botanicus Art Ensemble to continue the programming that they've got here on site now, but to continue it and support it with more robust facilities. And then the idea of a community meeting room or multi-purpose room was something that we know is important to communities who are growing and changing, a place to meet to discuss the changes in the neighborhood, to discuss various aspects of life in the neighborhood. In our work, we were trying to negotiate between what we thought would be improvements to the building and to the park, and also the feedback that we received from the neighborhood. And I think that is a source as well of a great deal of concern by some members of the community, because there is new development happening immediately adjacent to the park to the north, as well as a bit more remotely in the Tower Automotive lands, where you will, in the course of the next 5 years, have 300 to 500 new residents moving into this neighborhood. Growth oftentimes is seen as a threat, but actually growth brings with it tremendous opportunities for investment. If this neighborhood were never to change, it would mean that the City of Toronto would likely not invest a great deal of money in it, and the resources like MacGregor Park, like MacGregor Fieldhouse, would be left as they are and increasingly left to break down or to decay. And I think the real trick of the project, of the Fieldhouse project specifically, but maybe the reconsideration and improvements to the park, is how to address the needs of this new community while continuing to address and better addressing the needs of the existing neighborhood. And the marriage between new needs and existing needs will be I think the real key to the success of the project.